Hey everybody! So tonight we are doing our fourth dev stream. We're going to be showing off environment art. We have weapons. We have animations. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to show. With me right now, I'm going to actually introduce everybody. With me right now is Justin. He's over here. Yeah. Justin, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Justin Owens, senior technical artist, 20-year developer, worked at studios like id Software, Oculus, and Treyarch. Um, I help develop artistic technical systems for 7 days and just help push the visual fidelity in the game, try to improve on quality levels with each output.
Cool, cool. Okay. So next, we're actually going to get Yonhga on here. Gonna do a little switcheroo. Hey, there he is. So Yonhga, go and introduce yourself. You're muted. At least I think you are.
How about now?
There we go.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Yonhga. I'm a senior artist at the Pham. Before Pham, I was working in the big corporate company like EA, Blizzard, and Ubisoft. And finally, I joined the Pham, the awesome team, about 3 years ago. And then now I'm doing the environment art and weapon art and some other cool stuff. So I'm really happy to work here with awesome people.
Cool. And then now we're going to switch over to Brian. Let's see if I can do this little... Oh, there we go. Hey, Brian.
Unmuting.
Go ahead.
How's it going? My name is Brian Kowalczyk. I am a senior animator at the Pham. I've been here for 2.5 years now. Prior to this, I was working at id Software for 10 years. Worked at Retro down in Austin for 2 years and 3D Realms for 3 years prior to that. And, you're going to see some first-person animations today that I've worked on.
Yeah, they look great. Okay, so let's now go. Let's see if I can do this fast enough. We're going to get Hung on the screen. Whew, there he is.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pham. I'm an artist here at the Fun Pimps. I've been here for about 2 years. Prior to that, I've worked on titles such as Stuntman Ignition, Brothers in Arms, and the Borderlands series. Doing this for about 15 years now.
Cool. And then last but not least, let's get Noe on here. Okay. Hey, Noe.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hi, my name is. Am I coming through?
Yeah. No, we
okay.
hear you.
Sorry. Yeah,
It looked like you were. You didn't remember your name.
sorry. Yeah, it's just that I just didn't hear anything.
No, it's
But
fine.
yeah. So my name's Noe Serrano. I'm a 3D artist. I have been in the game industry for over 10 years, and I mainly do 3D props and anything in between that. I I have worked on Call of Duty, Doom Eternal, and a couple other titles. But yeah, about it.
Cool. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do for right now. I'm gonna put Justin back up on the screen while I get the art going. So we're gonna be showing off. We're gonna start with Justin. Justin, tell us a joke while we wait. No, I'm kidding. Don't worry. He's like, wait a minute. I did not sign up for this. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, just like the other nights. We're going to go through and we are going to show different images of the things that the guys worked on. Something I do need to bring up. Actually, I should have brought this up before I introduced everybody. This is the fourth in the series. Next week, we will be doing, I think the programmers are next week. And then I think we just have one more after that before we start doing some gameplay. I think the next one after that is Random Gen. So, hope everybody's excited about that. We did just announce the streamer weekend. We have no dates, obviously, but if you qualify and everything, you should head on over to the website to sign up. And yeah, let's go ahead now. I'm going to switch over. So we're going to have to do like a crazy trickery here. So Justin's going to disappear, and then I'm going to make the image appear. It's magic, everybody. Actually, it's really not. I could have done this in a much more organized way, but instead I had to like hide stuff and then show stuff. But here we go. And now you can see it. Go ahead, Justin.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you great.
All right. So this is just a look at some of the new block materials or updates to existing block materials. We don't have a whole lot of new block materials this alpha. We're going to be doing more next alpha. We had a whole lot this last alpha, but we've been focusing on other technical art systems. But in this alpha, we have still quite a few block materials that have been updated. So you guys will have access to that and be able to see these new materials in the game. So we hope you like them.
Okay.
All right, so this is just a quick look at some of the material graphs that we build in order to make different material types for the game. So we build materials for textures and materials for blocks and for terrain and just about anything. And we use a couple of different apps and programs for that. The tile textures, we mainly use Substance Designer for that, and we put together these graphs that kind of spit out these texture maps, and those are layered together inside the game and rendered into a material. And this is kind of just a look at some of the simple graph uh, networks that we build. So if you wanted to move on to the next one, this next one is a more complex graph. So yeah, this is a look at just one of the network graphs that we build that's a lot more complex. Some of the materials just take longer to build just because they have a lot more going on, and they have a lot of custom unique data within that material. So this is a lot more complex than the previous one, but they all vary. So sometimes it takes longer to build certain materials than others, just depending on the complexity. So, all right, we can move on to the next slide. All right. So in this alpha, we have a new character shader, and we needed some way to pack all of our textures. We were having too many texture calls on our previous alpha. So we needed some way to kind of pack all those textures, which is kind of an optimization for the shader. And so I built the shader that has a lot of optimizations of packing and also has all the cool artistic things that we all like to see. So subsurface scattering and emissive properties and stuff like that, that all the fancy bells and whistles that kind of bring it up to a modern uh, day game. So we have, irradiated flags and, all
Oh,
those.
sorry.
No worries. Yeah, like I said, all those textures are packed, so it's a lot more optimal. We're able to get higher performance out of that. So this is a look at some new irradiated material properties, and I built this smart material, and this allows the artist to kind of output um, emissive maps that just look a little more improved on the quality side. So we wanted to have an irradiated look that just looked more internal. So before we had some irradiated maps that were just kind of it was a hack. It was more of a trick. But this this alpha, we wanted to really push on the irradiated look, and we were kind of inspired by Extremis in Iron Man 3 movie, where it kind of looks like a deep uh, glow inside the body. So this smart material has all kinds of sliders and stuff for the artist, and they can adjust, the depth of the irradiated glow. They can have more surface glow. They can have uh, more emissive properties. There's also vascular networks like veins, deep veins, and surface veins. And this just gives the artist kind of more freedom to push different areas that they want, just based on their taste. And you can kind of see the substance designer graph there. So we're able to, um, I don't know, just come up with a more visually appealing irradiated look that we were wanting for this alpha. So,
Whoops.
so this is another shader property, which is another emissive property. And this is the graph showing the burnt ember uh, radiated version, or I'm sorry, burnt feral version for the burnt zombie. And this was fun. We wanted something that looked like he was charred and on fire as he's running at you. So yeah, this was another one of those that was like just fun to work on and test, because you could flip it down to nighttime and then test him out, and it was just fun seeing him run at you all burning and crispy. So good times. All right, this is another shader that I made. This is the entity tent mask shader. And what this shader allows us to do is to basically all of our props in the game can have a colored tint now, so that we're able to have a lot more variation in the game with very little cost and performance. So the artists have been using this and creating tint mask, and then Alan has been setting up all the XML and creating colors, based on the hex codes, and he's able to uh, kind of expose a lot more of those props that have a lot more variation in them, and just give a lot more variation to the game, which is just a big visual improvement, and with very little cost. So we're excited about that one. All right. All right, this is another shader that I made, foliage shader. So we have been a little bit outdated with our foliage for a while. We've updated it, but it's just been kind of temporary placeholder stuff in the past. And so this new foliage shader has all the things that I wanted, like subsurface scattering and specular highlights, ambient occlusion, custom normal maps, and all the goodies that we'd like to see. So we think that people will be pretty excited about the new foliage in the game. Looks a lot more natural now, and it's just a lot, visually it's improved quite a bit from this last alpha. And Lathan, you can go to the next slide, and it just kind of, the next slide is just a kind of a preview of what you'll be seeing in the alpha. Now we're still tweaking it and adjusting things, but like I said, it's a lot more natural. Now we have taller grass and short grass, and we're still adjusting it, but it's pretty interesting to see how far it's come. We have a new forest ground texture as well, and so we're able to blend it in with that ground texture to where it looks pretty seamless now. So it looks a lot more natural. So we're pretty excited about that. Another thing I worked on is the universal tree root ball. So for the longest time, players would knock over trees and then there was just a hole in the bottom of the tree. So this is just kind of a cap for that hole that looks a little bit more natural. So on the left, there's a high poly sculpt of the tree root, and that gets baked down to a low poly version of the game. And then that is distributed to all the bases of all the trees. And then Sean set up a system where at the end of a tree destruction, that tree root ball will um, turn on and render as the tree falls. So you won't have to look at a hole in the bottom of the mesh anymore. So it's not it's not real glamorous, but just something to help with the visual fidelity and just improve on visuals overall. All right, this is some new random world generation stamps that I made for this alpha. So in the top left, that's a world machine graph, and this is a graph that's pretty simple. There's more complex versions that I have, but we use, it's similar to Substance Designer. We wire these nodes up, and we're able to kind of create these different stamps, and those stamps get distributed in random world generation, or people call it RWG. And so we have just improved terrain, visuals based on custom type map stamps. And we've upgraded the stamp fidelity to be 16-bit floating point. So now we have a little bit better visual fidelity on the transfer from the stamp to the game mesh. So yeah, another thing we're excited about. And this is just a screenshot showing some of the test generations with the new stamps. So we have the mesas and the lakes and the rivers and the mountains and all that stuff kind of working together to create a little bit more natural type terrain. Um, we're still kind of limited with the voxels and the material variation types and stuff like that. So it's not going to look, um, AAA or anything, but this can be totally destroyed since it's a voxel world. So we try to push as the quality as much as we can with the limitations that we have. So we're excited about this new update. It's really kind of pushing the boundaries of what we can do with the tech, which is exciting, and we think that the players will really enjoy it. So that's about it for me, and I appreciate everybody tuning in and having a look.
Cool. Here, I'm going to show my face for a second. Thank you, Justin. Here, I'm going to get that cleared off, what we were just looking at. And let's get... so we're going to now have Hung. Wait, no, not yet. Wait. I thought Yonhga was second. Because the order in here is that Hung is next. Inside the art folder. Is that which order we want to go in, guys?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yonhga
Okay.
has awesome stuff, so we can save that the best.
Well, no,
for
that
last.
and you know what, that makes sense because Yonghwa's and Brian's kind of go together. So yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
good. Okay, so Hung, here, I'm gonna get your stuff up on the screen, and let's sorry everybody, I was a little confused. So let's go ahead and get this. Get everything going, and then now, and go. Go ahead, Hung.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pham. I'm the environment artist here. And, like Justin mentioned, with each alpha, we're always trying to improve the visual quality of the game. And so, one of the things I was tasked with was to kind of work on some of the destruction to kind of help integrate the ground with the destroyed buildings and stuff. So what you're looking at is just some of the rubble and destruction piles that I created during this alpha. So right here is like one of the wood piles, and then if you can move forward, Lathan, and kind of take a look at some of the other ones I created. Right here is some more of those wood destruction piles placed around, just to kind of show how it helps integrate the building with the ground it sits on. All right. All right, and here is another example of a scene where you can see all the different types of rubble piles I created, like some of the concrete rubbles and brick piles, and they're sitting on top of some of the rubble terrain textures, and you see it kind of seamlessly blends in with it, where you can't tell what's the mesh and what's the actual terrain. And here also I created some modular rubble pieces that you can kind of use to create ramps and overhangs. And then that one image that Lathan showed her, if you move forward one, there's a before and after where you can see where using these meshes, it makes the scene look a little bit less blocky, where you kind of integrate it on the edges and makes it look a little bit more natural. All right, next thing is Jeff mentioned earlier during this alpha, he created a new color tint shader, which gives us a lot more variety with these assets and blocks, where you can change up the colors and reuse them, and just kind of customize your environment using the same asset with little extra costs, if any. There's some storage containers, just a bunch of examples, tarps, and all sorts of different assets using this tint shade.
That's the one everybody's going to be excited about.
Yeah. So that kind of moves into, the bedroll. One of the other things is just kind of up-resing the fidelity of a lot of these assets that you guys are familiar with. And so one of the things is adding that colorization to that bedroll, so you can kind of have your own custom colored bedroll. Here's some of the other assets. Kind of help the level designers back. Then they would try to hack together using textures and blocks to piece together and make simple things such as light bays and that sort of stuff. And so what you're seeing is actual kind of higher fidelity meshes showing light bays. And we also created different damage states where they're intact and they're cracked and then fully broken. And one of the other things, another example of something we used to hack before, but now we have actual conveyor belts you can craft together. Also, some other new assets here. Just this is example of new laundromat where we have a couple of the new assets props that I created. some bloody cloth piles, cloth bins, new industrial washers. Again, just some examples of some of the new art that's come in with this alpha. And also another focus during this alpha was all these really cool city POIs that the level designers were creating. We needed a lot of assets to kind of fill out those city blocks, like give them a lived-in natural feel. So a lot of the assets I created were city props during this alpha. I see someone mentioned phone booths, but no one uses them anymore. To mention, actually, no one has change either. Also, we had some to kind of fill out those commercial store interiors as well, ATMs and that sort of stuff. Oh, last but not least was I created some new doors, cellar doors, and these are just some images of the different types of doors that you can create, and then we'll have some videos showing their animations with the new destruction states as well.
Okay, so here, give me just a sec to see if I can get this to pop up correctly.
So cool.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. Okay, so here, I'm going to do this. Justin, they're going to see your face for a second. Just for a moment. Or maybe not. I lied. They're not. That's what I was worried about. Ugh, hold on. Tell it to repeat the one and stop switching. Okay. And then there's one more. See, that's why I was trying to close it. Okay, here we go.
Someone did mention that you will be able to shoot through those holes once you open the doors.
I saw Alan throwing grenades through it, so.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well.
Well, that's it. That's it from me.
Okay. Well, looks like we got Noe next. I'm gonna show myself again so I can clean up some of these open windows. Because in the process of that, I got like 5 open windows. Okay, got all that, and then Justin's like, don't show me. Does that still have you blown up there? Okay. Here we go. Noe?
Hey everybody, my name is Noe Serrano. I do a lot of the 3D art that's pretty much props, stuff that's not gonna static, it's not gonna move or anything like that. And my process is usually to do the high poly like everything else. And my task for this one was to do an ambulance. And this is the high poly. So it's pretty much like whenever I build something, I always have to start from what's real and then start taking different elements, looking at different concepts and make sure I try to change it enough to where it looks believable. And at the same time, we don't get sued by the company. Go ahead and go next, please. And this is the low poly state. This is after I baked all the high poly information and I put it into the low poly that's going to be inside the game. And this is the final texture for the ambulance that I worked on. And, hope you like it. And from there, I decided to change some things up. Like, I added a rail system. I added some ladders and changed the logos in the truck and got, 3-for-1 in this situation, which was great. And it just, it's nice to see some of the logos from the rest of the game inside these vehicles. I'll go ahead and go next. And like I said, I'm a prop artist, so I do a lot of simple stuff that's legacy art that needs to be updated. And, simple table, nothing too fancy, and just a little wear and tear. Same thing, I do plant, as you can see on the middle, like there's the old plant that was there before and the new updated version. Go ahead. Yeah, this is a safe that goes inside the walls, goes into the ground and different locations. So I was able to same thing, go through the high poly and get it down to the low poly where it's good enough for the rest of the game.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You could go ahead and go next. And same thing, I just keep working on all everything that's already in the game and just keep updating it to make it look good with the PVR and everything, high poly, low poly, and texturing. Go ahead. And this is another situation where I had to make there's two stoves. One's a modern stove, and then the other one's kind of like a 1950s stove that you'll find at your grandma's house. And there's another situation where I got 2-for-1 by changing a couple things in it and making it getting reused and everything. You could go ahead and same thing. Like Hwang was talking about, like the new, we're building all this new cities and everything. And this is just another prop that's gonna go inside the city. And you have Justin doing the tint system in it that allowed us to change the color of any of these props, which is really nice. Next. And here's a situation where I wish I would have done this more, where are you able to see the old model right next to the high poly, or my the updated version. And same process, take it from high poly, take it down to the low poly, and using Justin's tint system, I was able to get a lot more detail out of it, and a lot more variations. And this shopping basket that you have a full version and an empty version, and just a couple random little things here and there. It's just I'm trying to make it to where it looks like something that you could find at any shopping center. And I have a couple little things here, little Easter eggs. You're able to see some of that, the crush, the mega crush, and the spam, and a couple things here and there. Trying to have a little fun with the textures. Go ahead and go next. Cooler, and same thing. I keep going through the high poly, low poly, and getting it inside the game. Next. And this one was pretty cool. I was trying to tell a story like by having the cushion all riled up and make it look like one of the zombies came out of it. And same thing, I go through the high poly, low poly, and using the tint shader, I'm able to get multiple versions, different colors. And it's really nice. And this is really cool. I really enjoyed working on this. This is the hubcap mines that I'm pretty sure people step on accident. One of the big requests was to put a light in it so people are able to see that it's active. And on top is the high poly, and at the bottom is the low poly state, what's inside the game. And I'll keep going. Sorry. Next. Same thing, it's in the mindset. This is the air filter, and same thing, I have to put a light in it so people don't step on it. And, this is the tin can version. Try to get a little Christmas setting in it for the high poly. And of course, it has to look old, so it blends in with the environments. And this is one of those parts where this is the cooking pot, but it's also part of the mindset. And same thing, I have to add a light to it to make sure that people know that it's the mindset and not a cooking pot. And yeah, same process like always. Gotta get the high poly to look right, and move on to the low poly state for the game. Next. For this one, it's the what is it? Control system, and for this one was a little tricky. Trying to do all these variations. You could see the top version at the very top is the old textures and everything, and then the new updated version. The trick behind this was that I had to get everything within a one texture, and it had to also have the tint system working and everything. And at the bottom, you can see I did some duct work that connects to that, and these get used all over the game. I'm hoping that people like them. Next. And toilets. Everybody needs to go to some toilets. So here's 3 versions. The industrial version that you'll find in like like at a shopping center. Your grandma's toilet that you'll find in an old 1950s home, and then a modern toilet that you'll find in a modern home. And then at the very bottom, you have the texture versions that are, they show that they've been used or not being used for a while.
It's kind of crappy, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Nice.
had to.
Nice.
I had to. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. Since we're sticking to the the restroom theme, I did the high poly version for the shower and the bathtub, and same thing. Have to make it look similar to the rest of the toilets and everything. And can you hit next? And one of the things that I had to do with the toilet, I noticed that there was some gore on it, and so this one little simple thing of doing this kind of kicked off this whole sequence of events that ended up making me having to do some gore, and I love it. And so this is high polys at the very top, low polys at the bottom. It's in the toilet. And since I was already working on gore, Justin decided to just hand me over all the rest of the gore for the game, at least stuff that you find all over the world. And this is a deer or an animal deer that's been just eaten away by the zombies. And you have the high poly on top and the low poly at the bottom. And same thing, you have a human that's been halfway eaten, and the vultures had some fun with it. And same thing, I do a high poly version and then move it down to the low poly. And this is in line with the city environments. We're just updating a lot of the stuff that you usually see. And one of the cool things I ended up doing for this one is I decided to go it's the same model. I'm not using anything, not creating anything new. This is still using the same texture, and I ended up doing a little dangly one just to add some ambience to the environments.
Looks good.
Next. And one of the big requests was the fuse box. If you look to the top right, you can see the old school toolbox that gets used for everything. And for this one, I wanted to future-proof some of this, just in case we needed to do any missions or anything that might get changed up. And I decided to do an exposed version, an open version, a closed version. Those three will go into the outside, and then you have the inside versions with they just attach to walls. And same thing, I'd always work on the high poly and then work my way to the low poly. For this one, like I decided to do one of these that you see all over the houses with the utility meter. And like I said, I was trying to future proof this, and I added a switch just in case we need it for anything. And yeah, go ahead and go next. For this one, same thing. This is all part of the city environments, and I wanted to add some more variation to the whole thing. So this is one texture, kind of working a little smart on it, and from one texture, trying to get an overall thing. I ended up getting, think about 10 versions. I could get 10 versions utilizing the same things. And same thing, I future-proofed it just in case, added a switch. And this is the conduit system. So all this will be updated, and pretty much as soon as it goes live. And added a couple new things to it. And at the very bottom, you could see the old conduit that used to be just a flat plane. And now all these have a 3D element to it, and they should have some collision to it. So some of the players might be able to use for gameplay now. And also added a power switch. And these are just some of the, the different arrangements that could be used with the conduit system, the fuse boxes, and the meters for like the city.
I think that is all of your images.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. I appreciate everything. Then I hope you like the art.
Yeah, thanks, Noe. Okay. So let me clear all this off real quick, everybody. And then we're gonna get, I think it's Yonhga this time. Yeah. Okay. So let me get your image up on the screen. Let me get it. Oh, that's that good. I really like this image. Okay. Here we go. Go ahead, Yonhga.
All right.
You may be muted.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
All right, good. My name is Yonhga. I joined the Pham team about 3 years ago. Um, and we are a small team and not many artists. There's Justin and myself that just joined the team and try to find out how to revamp to the art. So we're a small team. Our art wasn't ready yet for either proxy or placeholder as an indie developer. Our job is just how to upgrade that art gradually and slowly. So I was starting with the environment art first. We can change it from the old style to PBR style. So you might have heard a lot from our artists. Any artist that keeps saying that high poly and baking into the low poly, that kind of stuff, and then over and over. So personally, this is very straight the pipeline, but tedious, very very tedious and slow. So I wish that the someday the artist can just doing the high poly with the UV texture on the top and just execute it in the game. Thanks to newer technology, hardware, and the graphic card. But unfortunately, we have to make it. Just we have to sacrifice ourselves to baking process painfully over and over. But that's our job. But now our team is getting bigger, so we got awesome artists, Hyung and Noe, and some other concept artists. So now I'm switching. I'm moving to handheld tools and weapons. So this is kind of put together since the last stream last year. I'm going to show you one by one and the working process as well. So this is the weapons I have made for a year. All the pipe weapons, post-apocalyptic vibe in it. Looks a hodgepodgey, but it's still functional because the Brian, the animator, he make it work. So, all right, next. Can you go next? Okay. This is the environment art and offset that I have made. There was the old spike, the wood spike and the iron spike. So I have to make more, realistic spike, and so with the blood, the path on it. And the big generator and small generator, very grungy, grime and oil stain in it. Looks like it's working. And chainsaw and auger, that's the tool. I also have to upgrade to that with a PBR pipeline. Okay, next. This is another category of weapons, from primitive bow to advanced bow. So like 4 or 5 different type of bows I've made it. So which is fun to make it. Okay, this is all the 3 categories that I've made for a year. And then the next I'm going to show you that my pipeline. Next. Yes, one of the latest the weapon I've made it. This is a rocket launcher. I was 3D Max user for a long time, but now I switched to the Blender. Blender is an awesome program, and also I want to get out of from my comfort zone. I'm still beginner. Still a lot of try and error using Blender. But now I like to use Blender in our pipeline. So making from the scratch, actually from the concept art, and the high poly model, sub-D modeling and endgun modeling, and plus sculpting paths through ZBrush. This is the final high poly model of the rocket launcher and Blender. Next. Same thing, again, I have to create the high poly first and the low poly later in order to running smooth in the game. And I have to very careful the layout and UV for the game poly in order to have a nice output, because I don't want to lose the high poly fidelity, baking onto the low poly. So, I have to build up, from scratch or, existing high poly and then decimate it. Then next screen. And then this is a UV layout. Besides of the UV unwrap, also I have to make sure that UV space not to waste any pixel, the space. So make sure all the packet and 2048 by 2048 pixel. So this is a lot of back and forth between the Substance Painter and the Blender. Make sure there's no pixelated pixel in the weapons. That's the last process in Blender. And the next is the painter. I have to bake it from high poly to low poly in Substance Painter. Make sure, as you see the layer on the left window, this is all the layers. I have to just paint it or just manipulate it in order to get a nice output. So at the end, it just spit out the albedo map, roughness, metalness, and ambient occlusion, and the normal map. So this is the whole process that I created from scratch to finish in the game, in the weapons. And the next screen, I'm going to show the one by one, the weapons. This is a Magnum. This is a new Magnum with the attachment. So I have to find that the handmade attachment, not from the manufacturer, it's from the from the person. So I have to combine with it onto the Magnum pistol. Okay, this one is Desert Eagle, so we nickname it Desert Butcher for fun, the 7 Days to Die weapon. Same thing with the handmade attachment, scope, hologram, silencer, flashlight, and laser. Everything is you can just attach in the game. Next. Okay, this is my first weapon. I haven't made it, and the 7 Days to Die M16 A1, but it's a post-apocalyptic touch, the past on that on the existing weapon. So a lot of the bandage, wrap up, to get some nice, the post-apocalyptic pass. Next. Same thing, AK-47 weapon and the hodgepodge, that our piece put them together, and combined with the shovel in our hands, a lot of the metal plate is welded and bolted nut pieced together. Next. Same thing, hunting rifle, the handmade, the put them together. Next. Lever action rifle. We got tons of weapon update, so that kept me busy to making all the weapon. Looks very similar, but it's different function. The fatal, the death rate is every weapon is different. So it's fun to make because existing our flashlight, can, some pipe and bolt and nut, put them together. Next. MG60 machine gun. That was the most time-consuming weapon I ever made it because this one has exterior and interior as well. It's painful, but it's fun to make it. But again, this is the most time-consuming. Yeah. Next. All right, so this is a new our 7 Days Die new category weapons out of the pipe. It's plumbing, like a Super Mario. The plumbing is the crucial in the game. So you have to use a pipe in a set in the weapon. So very fun, very creative, and very unique than other games. So I like it. I'm going to show the several pipe weapons one by one. Next. Pipe revolver, small pistol out of a pipe piece. So you can go to Home Depot and find that in a pipe piece and weld them together. Just have some nice touch, but rusty, but still works fine. But you will see that later about the animation. Brian made a really animation. The pipe is not as good as other existing the manufactured weapon, but handmade it, but it's still working fine. Next. Same category, pipe rifle with a nice long the scope on the top. There was some kind of gas chamber between bottom and the back, so it's very unique aesthetics on that weapons. Next. Pipe shotgun. This is the one of a shotgun. I forgot the name. Our existing weapon is replaced by this pipe shotgun. Yeah, this is the same pipe weapon category. Next. Okay, this is our pistol. With it's not pipe weapon category. It's the pistol, but the attachment is handmade. Next. SMG weapon with interesting hollow attachment and barely exposed the laser light in a can silencer. This is the weapon is really fun to make. Next. Okay, as a rocket launcher, the final render is the one of the latest the weapon I haven't made it, as Brian is working on it now. So sooner than later, you're gonna see that this rocket launcher, you can use that. Next. Okay, this is about the category. iron crossbow. There's made out of wood and iron on the top. A lot of just handmade the rope, they mounted and then just the reinforce that the kind of the attachment piece by piece, and obviously this one has attachment flashlight hollow. Okay, that one is compound crossbow. Yeah, we had a concept art, but I have a lot of references, photos, to build this weapon. It's complicated, but it's a good weapon. Next. Okay, this is one of the weapon I have upgraded. We had one, the compound bow, but wasn't the PBR set, so I had to create a new the compound bow like this. So I cannot wait to see these weapons in the game. Next. This tool is not a weapon, it's auger. We had augers, nice auger, but again, it was like this place order to me, so I had to upgrade that the auger with this nice PBR shader on it. Next. Chainsaw, like the weapon M60, the most time consuming. This is the most time consuming tools I've made. Is the old chainsaw doesn't have that actual geometry teeth, but now it has actual teeth of geometry. Very heavy geometry, but hopefully you guys like it to use it. This is the chainsaw. Very bloody weapon. This one is environmental set, was a big generator. We're going to use it. Yeah, this is environmental set. This big one. Next. This is small, portable generator. So we have 7 days to die, the logos on the top, very rusty, oily, grungy, very dirt. That's all I got for this presentation.
Okay, so here, let
Thank
me
you.
go ahead. Yeah, thanks, Yonghwa. Let me get myself back on the screen. So we have one more. Brian is going to be showing some stuff. Let me clear off the previous stuff and let's get Brian's up. So all of Brian's is animation, so it's going to be videos. So just give me a moment because I'm going to try to get this set up where it doesn't just loop and then go back to the first one in the middle of it. So let me just make sure my settings are right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty
Loop on
short.
the- yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I want them to loop. I just don't want them whenever we add another one for it to loop through the two. So I think I got it. So yeah. So while you're explaining, I'll loop it. Here we go. So go ahead, Brian.
So the Pipe-a-thon. Yeah, I looked at some reference on YouTube. Pretty straightforward. Tried to have some fun with the heavy attack. There's multiple ways to do it, but that seemed to be the most interesting from first person. Yeah, these first 5 weapons are going to be the pipe weapons. So you get to see the tier 0. Here's the revolver. The direction on this was to make it so that it's very difficult to load all these weapons, to reload them. So you can see how it kind of struggles with the reload a bit. It's all rusty pipes. the rifle. These are all really fun to make. Just kind of having, like, well, make the reloads really long. All right, how can we do that? And I think also too, they're not supposed to hold too much ammo as a tier 0. So you see there's only 1 bullet going in each time. The machine gun. This is fun because there's a some secondary animation on it. There's a lock that's kind of on the side there. Kind of brings the weapon to life a bit. I got the shotgun. Single bullet. Is there sound with this, Lathan? So I got everything turned down. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, there should be.
Okay.
You all are hearing it, right? I mean, it's probably a little quiet, though. Do you want it to be?
Yeah.
Here?
Eric did the sound work on this. It's amazing. So definitely want to hear that.
No, we can go back through them.
This for the pipe suite.
Okay, so then we're gonna go back through them and do one at a time, just so that they can hear the sounds, because it wasn't that loud. Hell, I may turn it up just a little bit. It's gonna be deafening, everybody.
Yeah, crank it. Sounds really make it. I think typically these are about 30 to 50% longer than their counterparts for tier 1 and higher, as far as the reloads go. You don't have to show the baton again.
Yeah.
Real sloppy, bullets flying all over the place. Just having some fun with it. And it's all animated bullets too, so we kind of have them animated all the way out off screen. And then, yeah, the lever action. I was trying to find some reference for this. I always kind of went back to Evil Dead. I think it was Army of Darkness at the very end, where Ash is like flying through H Mart or S Mart, and he's just firing this thing away. Not really realistic the way he was firing it, but yeah, I tried to have some fun with that. It's kind of hard to see the lever action, because if you go any higher, it's just going to obscure the screen, so we didn't really want to go too high with it. You can definitely see that in third person. And then the SMG is the model was redone, and the animation wasn't changed that much. I mean, just a bit. You see, there's a spoon that's at the top there for the bolt. So I just kind of had some fun with this one, slamming it down. So I had to spice it up once I was in there. Hunting rifle. Yeah, this animation's pretty much the same, but I did fix something that came up as a bug. There was a bit of a jitter in the hunting rifle. I'm sure everybody who's ever used it noticed it in 19 and earlier. So I had to take that jitter out. So what I did was I exported everything at 120 instead of 30 frames. That seemed to fix it. That was killing me, that jitter. Oof. The auger. You see the auger now actually kind of starts in an idle position and kind of shoots out in front of you, whereas currently in 19 it just sits in one spot and plays an animation. So just wanted to get something that kind of sits in a better angle, a little bit off to the side. Same with the chainsaw too, just so we can get something that, you know, feels a little bit better. Chainsaw's off to the side, and you just go to trigger it, goes right out to the middle. Gave the chain a little bit of like an idle spin to it. little spiciness. I know that's not the correct way, but I mean, if it's not properly tuned, it's going to have a little bit of that pull. Yay for YouTube. And this is the third-person stuff. So right now we have, this is what you currently see in 19. Third person, you don't actually aim up or down the reload animation. But when you're moving the character, you see the very stiff upper body. So kind of the same treatment that we did in 19, just adding an upper body motion to it. So you can actually see, I think, yeah, this one has to play out a little bit longer. See two different weapons. You can see how static it is. You don't know where somebody's aiming. They're firing, and then when they start moving, they're just so robotic upper body. So try to remedy that in this next video. Or you get to see, you can actually, now you can aim up, aim down. This is gonna be on all the ranged weapons. Right now there's a bit of work to do to kind of finish out the set. And then as you're walking, you actually have a little bit of a weapon sway, kind of get like a run going with it. So it's not so robotic. It's actually a lot of work to make all those weapons work that way. Everything has a different grip, and it's just very time consuming. And I think that we have to kind of solve a little bit of that hand floating off. I think we can get like an IK solution for that.
Cool. I think that is it for those videos.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Let me pause that. Oop. Yeah, let me just pause it. Then I'll get myself back on screen. Hey, we're back. Give me just a moment. So, we have hit the point now. We've went through everything we wanted to show. So I think now we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A. Please try to keep the questions related to the people that are here. I'm going to get everybody on the screen. If you give me just a moment to do some magic to make it where you can see everybody. It's going to be like wizardry, kind of, but not really. It's actually very simple, but anyway. Hey, there's everybody. Okay. So you are going to show a little small because since there's 5 of you, it doesn't automatically like very well. So there's like gaps. So guys, if you you who are on the team, if you want to watch chat, see if there's any questions you see that you want to answer. Everybody, please. We'll try to answer your questions. Normally during this time, questions kind of fly by pretty quick, so don't get mad if we miss your question. And yeah, guys, if you see something you want to answer, just unmute and just start answering. Just say, hey. And like I said, try to keep this related to things that they work on. Please don't ask about animal taming or stuff like that. They're not going to answer that. I mean, unless they just want to mess with you, and then they will. Okay.
There were some people asking about the gun image that Yonhga made, asking to maybe get that as a desktop background. So maybe we can set that up somewhere for them. That'd be cool.
It would. Or maybe a mouse pad. Look at that, everybody.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like that? That would be a cool mouse pad. You know? See? Rick says yeah. So he said yeah, so that's it. He's in chat. How many of you would like a mouse pad like that? Just everybody start saying yes.
Yeah, make sure the 7 Days to Die logos in the bottom.
Yeah. Maybe like down right across the bottom. That'd be kind of cool. See, look, everybody's saying yes, and one maybe, but a lot of yeses. Okay. Well, since we're in slow mode, now that everybody said yes, they can't ask a question for another minute. So we have a break, everybody. Suckers. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
So people were asking about new sounds getting added to the new designs for the models. Eric's been doing that. He's been updating sounds as well whenever we get model updates.
Okay, so Arctic, that is okay. So you're asking about the environment stamp sectors updated. Will that help with roads around the open world from being abnormally sloped or and harder to get vehicles up? I would save that question for the RWG night. I think. I mean, Justin, you can answer it, but I mean,
Talking about roads and paths.
yeah, I would think that would be more random
Yeah,
gen-ish. Yeah.
yeah. Robert, he has his own system for creating roads and paths, and there's actually going to be an random gen stream, 2 weeks maybe.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, that would be a good question for them, for Robert. So somebody was asking about shader performance. Um, we try to build everything that we're building new. We try to build it more optimal than the previous version. So, we're shooting for higher quality, higher visual fidelity, as well as higher performance. Um, and a lot of that has to do with just cleaning out old code and maybe some earlier versions that weren't as optimal. So it does take a lot of time and testing, but we try to make everything a lot more performant than it used to be.
You mentioned we can shoot through the holes in doors. This is not just the ones we make, but doors with holes out in the wild on POIs. Yeah, well, I mean, the ones we were talking about was the double doors, and it had like a hole kind of broken in the center, and yes, you can shoot through that. Here's one that y'all could answer. Will we be getting a replacement for the 2D cardboard cutout versions of cotton, goldenrod, etc. for A20?
So I'm currently working on foliage, and we this alpha will be the same, card flat 2D version, but with the new shader, it looks a lot more realistic because we have accurate vertex normals and shading happening with the new shader that make it look a lot more 3D. And we're talking about replacing some of the models that are more dimensional. We're talking about, converting those into 3D meshes, but probably not for this alpha, maybe this next alpha. Somebody was asking if all the plants are updated or just grass. So with the new shader, we have to port all the existing stuff to the new shader, which takes some time to do because there's new maps involved and a new shading technique. So it's kind of a partial thing where we're partially upgrading the grass and then also porting some of the older stuff to the new shader, just because it's faster. Because we actually just started, Sean and I just started doing a foliage overhaul, so it was right at the end of the alpha, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to completely rebuild every single plant and grass type. So we're kind of doing the ones that you see the most right now, and then this next alpha will overhaul the rest of them.
Somebody keeps asking about the lever action rifle. It's tier 2.
Hey Brian, some of the guys here are asking about is it possible to add melee to items or weapons?
For individual items and
I
weapons.
guess like if you have a weapon drawn and
Yeah, that's more of a design question. I think at one point we did have one weapon had like a knife at the very end of it, but that wasn't actually in the code to work currently. That's a cool idea, but I mean, they'd have to run that past design, Joel.
And yeah, I mean, the programmers would have to put in something to make it, do both.
Yeah.
So. Is there going to be a low gore setting in the game? I'm not really sure on that one. Don't think so, but I think Rick talked about something about that, but I can't remember. He's in chat though, so maybe he'll say something.
Yeah, I think they're still talking about how much gore they want to do with the new gore system.
Yeah.
It's like I think they're pushing it to see how far they they want to push it and see how people react to it, and then try to decide.
I think some country has banned and gore, blood, uh,
Yeah.
game, so
So
Can
it's
never have too much.
German banned the any blood and gore in the game. And they
somebody was asking about the new colors for all the models. So we're right now, Alan, we kind of pick presets for all the different color variations. And then I believe that Alan is setting that up to where you can kind of cycle through all those preset. So he's trying to make a lot of color variations that make sense for that model, and then you can kind of cycle through those.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some random gen questions that I think you guys will really like to see the random gen stream here in a couple of weeks. It's going to be sweet.
Let's see. No new vehicles at this point. Will there ever be new art for Steam profiles? It's all out of date. I was hoping one of you would say something. Sure. Don't everybody chime in at once. Just calm down, guys. Let's. You're getting a little too rowdy here. Let's.
I think.
Just say sure.
Yeah, I think Richard might be able to answer that. Deals with the Steam stuff.
That sounds like a good idea, guys.
Anything we don't know, just like ask Rick.
He's here. Rick's just gonna get pinged by. They're gonna stop asking us questions. It's just gonna be at the Fun Pimps. Hey. Oh man. See what Rick just said it. Yeah, when we tackle Gold UI. See, we will update it. Are there more models and things going in that haven't been shown? So are you guys holding back anything that you're like, I just don't want you to see this until the day it happens?
Yeah, I think that if we showed everything that we're doing in the alpha, we would be here all night. Like, there's just so many things that we do in an alpha. We pick a handful of things and show it on the stream. There's still a lot of stuff that we just don't have enough time to show. So.
There will be some vehicle mods. That's a great question for next Wednesday. Because Sean will be here. And Sean's one putting those in. Or he'll answer it in chat. Okay, sorry, go ahead, guys.
We talked about doing food and drinking animations. That may still be on the list. I'm not exactly sure right now, but it would be nice to tackle it for sure. Right now, everything's just very.
There's a couple of people asking about the tent system for zombies. We're talking about that. We're talking about if we want to do some sort of tent system for this next alpha for the zombies, or if we just want to have texture variations. Because a tenting system is a little bit limiting. Like you can just shift one mask to a new color, but with another texture that you stream in with a separate texture, you can have gradients within that modified texture. So there's some trade-offs there. So we're talking about that for this next alpha, A21. Somebody else was asking about textures being updated. There's a lot of texture updates this alpha. Not all the ones that I showed was everything. Some of them have been modified. Some of them are completely overhauled. But this next alpha will have an even bigger set. With the more technical art systems that we've had to rewrite this alpha, I didn't have enough time to do a whole lot of block textures. So this next alpha, we should have a little more time to go be able to touch most of the block textures, get them updated. somebody was asking about just more forest variation, like fallen trees and bushes to help break up the meadows. Yeah, we'd really like to add more variation, especially to the forest areas. So that's something that's on our list to add. We just haven't got to that yet. So maybe this next alpha. Yeah, the vehicle's tent now, so should be
Yeah, I
set
thought
up.
they did. Yeah,
Tent system. Yeah.
I swore I saw that.
Yeah.
I have a comment about the augers and chainsaws being too loud. Noted. But it's none of us in this room are able to tackle that right now. It's more of a design question.
Should have asked that whenever Eric was here.
Yeah.
Even though whenever he was here, we were like, stick with the level design questions. Don't ask any other questions.
Have to do a different stream just with Eric for sound.
That's true. Actually, Zach will be here next Wednesday. So
There you
you could actually ask him. You could bring it up.
I think someone asking about the shoot the weapon in the vehicles. Who's can you answer that?
What was that?
So, someone asked that can you shoot the weapon in the vehicle while doing the vehicles?
Oh, shoot the vehicles with the weapons?
Yeah. While you're in the vehicles, then you can shoot that zombie.
You'll have to ask the pimp. With the hat.
You mean being able to shoot while being the passenger of a vehicle? Actually, that would be a great question for next Wednesday when Sean is here. Or he can just answer it in chat. Sean, you're killing me here. Every time I tell him to come to your stream, you just answer the question. Stop it. I know, apparently I'm too slow. Sean is very fast at typing. Sean, you're next week, so just stop answering your own questions. They can come back on next Wednesday and ask them.
Somebody asked if the shopping cart is getting updated. That's on the list, but I don't think it's in this alpha release. I think it's next alpha.
Also asking about the update about food and drink. I think that's my list. I like to update that the drink and the food.
Oh, the first person hand food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any plans to make more vehicles? That'd be a great question for next Wednesday. Don't answer it, Sean. Stop. Don't do it. He's gonna answer it anyway, just to spite me. Yes. Okay. There you go. Whoever asked that question is really upset now. I can't believe this. He would have answered it if you'd have just let him say it. Now I gotta wait till next Wednesday. When will Alpha 20 release? After Alpha 19.
Nice.
Before Alpha 21.
Somebody was asking about animations for eating. So like the first person hand and arm, maybe Brian be able to answer that. I don't know if it's on your list.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't currently on my list, but if Yonhga is working on that stuff, then yeah, we'll definitely make a good run at it and make that for first and third. I mean, we had talked about, instead of having holding a bottle and kind of doing the whole thing, that you actually take the top off, flip it off, and do like some sort of cool animation with it and toss the bottle afterwards.
That'd be cool.
Actually, you keep it in your inventory, so you can do that.
Can we make clean windows and new looking doors? Once again, I was hoping one of you guys would say something on that one.
So like a clean post-apocalyptic universe.
I mean, if you just made the window, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
true.
a question.
Everybody
Just
wants to
made
play House Flipper. That's what they're doing. They're like, I want to get the market value on this this building a little higher.
There's a question that the artists have a favorite program to work on. I can answer that. Yeah, everybody use different program. 3D Max and Modo, Blender, and Maya. I think that's it. So,
Yonhga, all the weapons have unique mods on them, right? At this point.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was just asking. Yeah, each weapon has a completely different, unique mod look to it that kind of fits the weapon. Gives them a lot of character.
Yeah, the weapon doesn't share with the other mods that has their own unique, attachment.
Footprints on snow would be really cool, but it doesn't work with our system currently. Yeah, we see that in some of the games coming out, and it's probably not a performance system in those games. But we've talked about how cool it would be to do that, so maybe we can put that on the list at some point. Test it out. Somebody was asking if all the zombies have radiated skin. I think most of them, pretty much all of them, have a radiated version. I think your mic is popping.
Yeah. Yeah, Young, how can you mute your mic while you're not talking? Because I think it's yeah.
There we go. Somebody was asking if the world has more dead bodies and gore laying around now. Yes.
Laser sword. Ooh.
Nice. So somebody was asking if the new tent system worked with the guns. Not currently, but I think Yonhga was talking about porting the existing textures to the new tint um, shader so that we can have access to different color variations and stuff. I think that some of them still have the old tint system still working to where it's just like a solid color that gets multiplied on top of the whole gun. But we'd like to have it to where it's masked, to where it only certain sections of the gun gets color modifications. So I think that's on our Young Haas list for A21, possibly. You might be able to answer that.
A katana sword for A20.
That would be cool.
I think that was what other zombie game is katana. Uh, but not for 7 Days to Die.
Somebody was asking about more dynamic lighting and POIs like flickering lights. Yeah, we just updated one of our light systems. It was having some issues, but it's called Light LOD system, and it's kind of allowing the artist to set up new lights, like Noe set up street lights, and now we have um, Hung did some traffic lights and different stuff like that that is allowing artists to plug in some dynamic lights so that we can have them in the scene and moving around and flashing, and to add a little bit more scary vibe to the POIs and stuff.
I believe the double barrel shotgun remained the same this alpha. If I'm correct, Yonhga?
Yeah, I think so.
Any plans to have a new backpack designs for your character or color scheme options for them?
That gets into some territory that we can't talk much about.
Whoops.
Well, there was like a lot of those type of things in the character stream where people, hey, just character model type questions, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's being worked on that's it's cool. It's I think you guys will be excited. It's not anything that can be shown right now, but some R&D going on and some really cool stuff.
So we're talking about it, basically. Just nothing we can talk about to you. Just we are talking about it.
Talking about not talking about it.
We're talking about it amongst ourselves.
It's like Fight Club.
I know. You don't talk about it in public.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. It's first rule. First rule.
Hey, Justin, one of the guys is asking about clean versions for some of the props like the toilets, microwaves, rusty ovens. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, all we would need to do is just have a texture variation and then set up a new prefab. So, if it feels like it's in an area, we would have to place those, level design would have to place those in areas where it looks like possibly there hasn't been any weather damage or it's kind of pristine. That could go with the clean windows, that the other guy was asking about. We could have like a clean zone.
Yeah, I think in the texture aspect, it's just turning off a lot of the mask that we just kept adding on, just turning all that off, and we'll be done real quick on that aspect.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Hey, Young, how can you mute again? You're still doing the flickering thing. Yeah. Any playable instruments coming to the game? I don't think so. That's not a question for tonight anyway, but I don't know. Rick may want to have a guitar. I probably shouldn't have said that idea. Now he's going to be like, that's what we need. We need this.
It's gonna be a rough animation to do.
Now I know what to do at night. I can just sit next to the campfire. Okay, everybody, don't get excited. That's probably not happening. I just wanted to see Rick say something, but he didn't. He's typing out a big paragraph right now.
Somebody was asking how much artistic freedom we have whenever we make a new asset. we have quite a bit of artistic freedom. We just have to kind of make it feel believable within the world. So, but we collect our own references and kind of art direct our own, assets and stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of artistic freedom I feel within the team.
Guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes,
Oh,
we
awesome.
can.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, someone asked earlier if we plan on doing a vertical double doors, and yeah, I'll put that on my task list and we'll get them out soon.
Is Jen single and looking?
You can answer that.
Justin, you want to answer that one?
uh, I'll just say yes, she is. She recent breakup, so she's pretty lonely, and she got a new treadmill that she's gonna be running on uh, whenever you go inside the POI. So
There's going to be a lot of disappointed people whenever they find out you're just joking. Like, wait a minute.
where's the treadmill?
He told us. We have the clip.
Technically, we have a treadmill. Yonhga made a treadmill, so we do have a treadmill. She just may not be on it.
We're getting a ton of questions in chat. Hey, Brian, can you make that animation of the running on the treadmill?
Yeah, I was laughing at all the questions during the character stream about the physics, jiggle physics.
Oh, God.
Are we talking a run or a power walk or
He needs details. Like, what
arms nice and tight?
are we talking?
A mall walk.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking if the new radiated glow will be exposed to modders. Yeah, we do texture packing now, so um, I don't know exactly how that get modded, but if you have access to those texture assets, then you should be able to open them up in an editor and repack the textures. Photoshop should allow you to do that, so you can kind of repack those textures and into the shader.
Looks like they want a trampoline.
Nice.
Next up is a slow motion button.
And a sprayer, water sprayer.
This is going downhill. Just
Someone's asking if we could fire through holes in a lot of the other doors, and I think we have plans on revamping a lot of the doors and their collisions, so you should be able to.
Somebody was asking about auto shotgun, if that was updated already. Maybe Yonhga or Brian can answer that.
Where the mods were added, I believe, this time around. But yeah, animation wise, no, it hasn't changed since 19. The Yonhga got a new model, yes.
Cool. Somebody was asking about ray tracing, and we don't really have plans right now to do ray tracing version, but we've talked about it. I mean, it's the ray tracing stuff is so cutting edge that there's not very many graphics cards out there, and people can't even find graphics cards right now. So um, it would be a lot of time spent supporting something that isn't really mainstream right now. So, but it's definitely one of those things that we would like to do down the road. There's a couple of people asking about the new assets and the new wire system, or the existing wire system and power system. I don't know, Lathan, I don't know if you uh, wanted to talk, or if you can talk about any of the new stuff that you're working on, or if that's
I
you
mean,
might.
nothing that we're doing right now is actually related to the actual electricity system. The restore power is it's a quest that's a separate thing. So that's just you're gonna go well. Okay, it's that you're going into a building and restoring the power, but I don't want to tell too much because I'm actually talking about that next Wednesday. Like I'm gonna
Oh, right on.
talk a
Cool.
bit about it, so I don't really want to explain too much right now. But
That's
yes,
good. I know that the little, like, Noe's working on some cool little power boxes, and
yep.
they have a red light and a green light, and you
So
can switch those. And level designers, we want to hook that up to where you can turn on doors and activate things with those lights.
I may talk about that too next week.
Okay,
But yes,
sorry about that.
stuff like that. No, no, no. It's fine. It's
Total
fine. We know.
spoiler.
No, 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 no. It's okay, Rick. I mean, Justin. Sorry.
Thought that was unrelated. Sorry.
No. Waiting for Rick to say something in chat.
Yeah, let me tell you about all the other stuff Lathan's doing.
Well. Oh man. Not a spoiler. A teaser for next week's stream. Oh,
There you go.
there you go. I'm gonna spin that around.
There's a new rubble pals do break apart. Someone was asking about that.
I saw somebody asking about the potted plants. They wanted to know if we could do a color variation, but I think the limit I had in it is that I used an opacity map, and I wasn't able to do the tint system on it because of the opacity map. Justin, can we get an update on that?
Yeah, are they talking about the
The
actual,
potted plant,
like, the plant portion of or the pot?
the pot, the color of the pot.
Oh, gotcha. Um, Yeah, I think we could set that up with just a separate material.
I don't believe there's any plans to make doors pickable, but that may change. But currently, I don't believe so.
Somebody was asking if the vehicles are getting a color touch up. So in this alpha, we ported those to the new tint shaders, and whenever we did that, we adjusted a lot of those colors that we picked for the vehicles. So last alpha, there was some wild colors like real saturated greens and stuff like that. So now with the new tint system, we adjusted all those colors and tried to balance them with the environment so they look more weathered and more desaturated.
Will those tints also be usable with the paintbrush for blocks? I do not believe we have anything set up to do that.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I mean that would mean that the paint system would have to have some way of selecting a color, and that would be a whole system to do that. So no.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, because the paint right now, the paintbrush uses just straight up textures, and so if you were to say change it to say, here's a list of colors, you can start dabbing stuff. No, that's a completely overhaul. Yeah.
So I was asking if the weather effects have been updated. Rain, thunderstorm, better snow, yes. I don't want to speak for Sean, but he did some work on that stuff, so maybe he can mention it next week. I'm already spoiled some things. I don't want to do that.
We're just gonna skip the next stream. Justin's basically talked about all of it anyway. We're just gonna we're just gonna skip to RWG.
Yeah, I'll just
finish it up, man. There's not much left.
finish it up. Yeah, here we go.
Tell about what Zach's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's who you haven't missed. That's who you've missed at this point. Oh man. No, we still have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of those systems are shared between. It's a lot of back and forth between programmers and artists. A lot of collaboration. So it's, um, you know, overhaul a system, give it back to artists. They go try to adjust values, create new assets for that system. Then it goes back to the programmer with bugs, and there's just like a lot of back and forth with those systems. So it's a really fun collaboration whenever it just gets improved each time it goes back and forth. I was asking about how many dev streams there are. Lathan, is there
There's
two or
gonna be
three?
2 more, and then we're going to start doing some playthroughs. So you got to listen to us for 2 more weeks before you get to see some in-game stuff. I was like, oh, man. Okay, well, everybody, I feel like things are kind of slowing down a bit. Let's try to get like 1 or 2 more questions in, and then I think we are going to call it a night, everybody. So if you guys see any questions you want to answer last minute before we call it. If not, we're gonna find someone to raid, and then we're gonna, yeah. Let's see. Okay, well, yeah, no, I think we're gonna call it, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Justin, you guys, thanks for answering the questions, showing off all the cool art. A lot of good stuff. Thank you, everybody who came out, asked all the questions, saw all the art. Yeah, we really enjoy doing these. We like you seeing all the stuff that we've been working on, letting the team kind of show off their own stuff. It's a lot of fun for us, so we really appreciate you all being here. Remember, next week is the programmers. So Sean, myself, well, I'll be here for all of them, but Sean, Zach, Steven, I don't think Robert's going to be here, because Robert's going to be here for Random Gen. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be here, but everybody else will, or all the other programmers will be.